Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's do a complete beginner's guide to No Man's Sky. Live with the Voyagers update here at the end of 2025. And I did a guide series to this game a couple years ago. It was so much fun, and things have changed with the many updates, and I thought, let's do another guide in the same fashion that is up to date, changing things to adjust and accommodate for the way that the beginning of the game has been changed, not only by the built-in tutorial, but the way that the game itself has evolved and how we make money, how we explore, and how we play. So, what I like to do in my guides is start up a brand new game so that you can play along with me, and I explain everything in a very easy and thorough manner so that we can cover everything organically as it emerges, and I can explain it to you in real time so that you can get into and enjoy this game. Whether you've never played No Man's Sky before and are looking to play because the shipbuilding update is so fascinating, or maybe you saw shipbuilding and you wanted to come back after not having played for a bit, this guide is for you. So, let's go ahead and get started with a brand new game. Now, once you select a new game, you're going to notice that there's many different game modes now to play, including the current Corvette Expedition. Now, the Corvette Expedition is actually not a bad place to start if you really want to just build your own ship, but it kind of forces you in that direction. It gives you an explanation of how to play as well, but I believe that just starting a normal game is the way to go for understanding No Man's Sky in its fullest, and that way our guide series will be applicable even if you're not in time to do Expedition 19. So we're going to go right here and do normal game mode, an infinite journey, explore and survive in a boundless universe. There's other game modes that you could try: relaxed, little easier, creative, way easier, custom when you get more used to the game and you want to make your own parameters, survival if you want things to be much more difficult, but I like the balance of normal. So when you select normal, the game is going to start generating our starting point if we're starting on a new world, or really it's just loading the place in the game that we have, the game is determining that we start at. Now, your starting point is going to be different than mine. We may never cross paths, but that's okay, and that's the beauty of this enormous game. Begin initialization? Yes. So I'm going to be playing on PlayStation 5 using a gamepad. So what we want to do here is just hold the square button, and we start up.
Life support systems activated. Geokinetic system online. Aerial propulsion jetpack online. Multi-tool and mining laser attachment operational. User initialization sequence complete.
Awesome. And here we are on Egini G25, and first contact means that we are indeed the first people to ever set foot on this toxic
protection falling
world. So I'm going to say right away, we see some mountains, we see some plants, we see some animals flying, and the game has popped up a window in the left, which is a tutorial window, and it's telling me we need to turn on our scanner and try to find some sodium so that we can activate our suit's hazard protection so that we don't get killed by this toxic environment. So I click the left stick, but uh-oh, my scanner has been critically damaged. The scanner is a personal surface radar device. It releases a high-energy pulse that reveals any critical survival resources in the immediate area. And this technology has been critically damaged, so to repair it, we need to collect 75 ferrite dust, which is a very common mineral that we can mine easily. So I'm just going to push circle to close this up, and you see the tooltip in the left window is moving us down these bullet points, so now we need to collect ferrite dust. So we're going to go around and just push circle to continue, and now the window collapses into a smaller window, and it says gather ferrite dust. We need 75 of it, and we extract it by shooting small rocks with our multi-tools mining beam using R2. So we're going to go around, and anything we see on the ground that is not a rock, you see that's just a random surface feature. We need to kind of look for a rock that is, here we go, something we can blast apart. So these are rocks, and when we get our cursor over them and we start mining and shooting them, you're going to notice what is part of the environment, or just kind of you can't interact with it, nothing happens. And these plants, for example, nothing. What is something we can blast? So when you get your aiming reticule on something that is destroyable, the tooltip will explain to you, for example, this is an unidentified plant, and it's going to give us carbon most probably here as the primary element. And the little diamond is how much health it basically has. And as you see, if I hold down the right trigger, I start shooting this with my mining beam. You're going to see damage numbers floating up, just giving us an indication of how much damage we're doing. And then the wheel around the diamond is how much health this has. And once we completely deplete its health, we collect 25 carbon, or the totality of whatever carbon is available from that. It's going to vary based on the type of plant, the size of it, etc. Now, we need rocks. So these are dihydrogen crystals, you see as I aim. So I'm just going to walk around until I see some ferrite dust. That's a cave. I don't want to go in that right now. And when I was talking about objects in the environment, like these plants, you notice how when I aim at them, there's nothing displayed. That is a clue to you that it's not going to help you. It's just decorative. So we need to find some rocks. So we're just walking around looking for some small rocks that can provide us with ferrite. And here we go. This is a pretty big rock, but it's going to give us ferrite dust, so we're just going to blast it. We get some ferrite dust as we mine, and then once it explodes, we're going to collect much more. And now we have 13 out of 75 ferrite dust, and I want even more. That's pure ferrite. You'll notice how the wheel around that diamond for this unidentified mineral is red. It's because I need the advanced mining laser, and I don't have that yet. So this is a rock. Let's get this. And then we get some dust here. Now, while I'm going around getting rocks, you're going to notice in the bottom left, I have a gauge that has what looks like a radiation symbol. That's a green shield that's blinking now. My bar is blinking because that is my hazard protection, and it's diminishing. So you see how to the right of that little bar there's a arrow that's white that's moving to the left. That means like I am losing hazard protection being out in this dangerous environment. So I need to repair my scanner so I can find the right minerals to recharge my hazard protection so I can explore more safely. Now, below that gauge on the left, there's a little heart with a pulse running through it. That is my health, and it's going down slowly. Or that is actually my life support, sorry. And that's kind of like how much oxygen we have in the suit. I'm going to get this carbon. And this plant right here is actually sodium. So I'm going to just hold square. You don't need to mine this sodium. I'm going to pick it up. This we can use to recharge our hazard protection, but the tutorial doesn't want to tell us about that right now, and we're just going to follow the tutorial pretty closely. So you see these yellow glowy guys? those are sodium, and you'll start to learn what things are in the environment. Again, your world might look totally different than mine, but dihydrogen will be blue like this, which we need for the ship and for other crafting. This will be a sodium-rich plant, that yellow glow, and this red glow is going to have oxygen for us. So we could come over here and pick up some oxygen. Holding square to pick those up. Those you don't mine with the laser. And these animals, we can interact with them later, but we don't have a scanner right now. So sometimes you might find some containers just sitting around. Hold square. I'm going to take this rusted metal. So this is a damaged container, but we can't open it because we need to remove the damaged components. So you can hold R3, the right stick, on this rusted metal by moving your left stick aiming reticule over it. If you hold R3, you'll just discard this, but I want to keep it, so I'm just going to push X to quick transfer it, and you'll notice I can either put it in my exosuit or put it in my Starship, which I don't know where that is. It's out of range. So I can push triangle to quick put this metal into my inventory, or I could just, while I'm holding it here, move my cursor over the exosuit and press X again to put it in there. And now I open this container, and you see that what I found in there was just a little bit of oxygen. Okay, fine. I'm going to search this container here. And, well, that's telling me that this is locked with the Atlas Pass. Yes, it is. But my health is at maximum, so it had a health restorer. We got some condensed carbon. I'm going to open up this container. And the same thing. I'm just going to push X on this. And I'm going to just drop it in my suit. And I got some more condensed carbon. So all of that is good, but none of that is ferrite dust. So I was saying I didn't want to go into a cave, but we might be able to get some ferrite dust in here. So I'm just going to walk down carefully, and more like slide down. I'm going to blast this cave marrow and pick up that marrow bulb. And you see these stalactites are cobalt. And that's not what we need. There's carbon, there's cobalt, and most of what you're going to get down here is indeed cobalt. But you'll notice, one of the nice things about a cave, if you can find it, is it can buy us some time. You hear how the AI lady told us that our toxic protection was stabilizing. That means that we're safe inside the cave. And my gauge actually filled all the way up and recharged for my hazard protection. Now, it'll go down as soon as I leave this tiny little cave, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and pick up some carbon. Pick up some carbon. Carbon is actually very useful. We'll need a bunch of it in a moment. This plant is tough. It's like, you need to really blast me. Now, in the upper right, you're going to notice that there is a gauge that appears for my mining beam. And it says 21% right now, 20%. That's how much power is left in it. And then the white gauge that's filling up in the upper right is how much heat is happening with my multi-tool. And if that gauge fills up, I will overheat and have to wait a bit before I can use it again. Now, also, you're going to see in the upper right how many minerals I'm actually getting. It just kind of shows you what you're picking up when you're mining and tells you right there I just got 63 carbon, for example. Now, I am playing in third person. If your game does not default to third person, I believe that it does. But if it doesn't, you can push down on the directional pad and then go to the left with the directional pad and go to utilities, the gear, and then just go over to where it says toggle camera view, and if you click X, you can play in first person. I honestly like to kind of switch between them. First person is a little bit more immersive, but at the same time, I like to be able to see my character. I've gotten used to that. So I'm going to go ahead and just go back to utilities and toggle this to third person again. So you could switch and use whatever you like. Additionally, in the lower left, you're going to see, are these big ferrite rocks? They are great. I'm going to blast these babies and get us some ferrite. You're going to see the name of the world that I'm on, the planet I'm on, Eugenie G25. You're going to see how hazardous the world you're on and what the hazard is. So mine is toxic. It's 53.7 toxicity. Yours might be a cold planet. It might be a hot planet. It could be a radioactive planet. So there's different kinds of hazards. Additionally, you'll see in the bottom left the temperature. I'm playing in Imperial, so you're going to see Fahrenheit for me, and how much radiation there is. Now I have enough ferrite dust, by blasting all that, to repair my scanner. So I'm just going to push circle to progress the tutorial, and I'm going to push the big button on the PlayStation controller to open up our inventory. So when we have the inventory open, you're going to see that now it just opens up to the multi-tool page, and I can get between the tabs by pushing L1 and R1, the bumpers on the top. The scanner, you see it flashing there in the upper left on my multi-tool. It's blinking. I'm going to push X on it to repair it when I have it selected, and you see it needs 75 ferrite dust. It has a little check mark because I have enough. And then it opens up the repair screen. Just move your cursor over the blinking damaged part, and then push X to add that ferrite dust and fix it. So now it is repaired, and I can push circle to close the tutorial window, and it says, hey, go ahead and recharge your hazard protection. Now, I already have a lot of sodium, so I can do that right now, but if you didn't, push the left stick in, and that pulse is your scanner. And you're going to see now H, that's dihydrogen, and there's a little blue for that. The yellow is sodium, Na, like we talked about, the periodic elements here, and then you're going to see the Na plus for more advanced. There's condensed carbon, for example. I think that's sodium nitrate. So there's sodium, condensed carbon, hydrogen, all over the place, and you might even see oxygen if there was any within range. And then that you can use to go find, for example, like we see right over here, this sodium-rich plant. Now, I didn't mention this, but let me show you again. There's so much to explain, but it's pretty easy and intuitive. When I was down in that cave, you notice how I got up by using a jetpack? You could push X to use your jetpack. It's like jumping, but it's better. You can fly. Right now our jetpack is not very good. It's pretty limited. So if I hold X, you're going to notice in the bottom right, a little jetpack icon appears and tells you how much fuel you have left. So if I hold X, it's going to go, 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 and then it runs out and it turns red and I just drop straight down. And that is my health in the upper left. Ouch, I hurt myself, but actually that damage went to my shield first, and it doesn't permanently hurt me. After a moment, that should fix itself, but be careful not to severely injure yourself. Now, they want us to recharge our hazard protection. I'm going to push down on the directional pad, and generally the game is pretty wise, and it defaults to recharge equipment, the little battery icon. This is where we came before to change the view, but I'm going to go to the battery. I'm going to push X, and then I can recharge my mining beam, my life support, the heart with the little pulse going through it, and my hazard protection. I'm going to click hazard protection with X, and then it gives you options of what do you want to recharge this with. Well, I want to recharge it with sodium. In fact, it's all I have. I don't have sodium nitrate. I don't have an ion battery. It tells you how much it will take. So it says it's going to take 8 sodium to recharge your hazard protection to full from where it's at. And in parentheses, I have 67 sodium. So I push X, and I fill up. And we get the happy music because we did something. We hit an achievement or an accomplishment within the game. And now there's an automated distress signal that's happening. And you see the night and day cycle in the game. It's daytime now. It's a little easier to see. And I just need to move my camera around with the right stick to aim myself at that icon, that floating icon, which orients us, and that's where the distress signal is. Now you see how when I aim at it, it says it's 774 units away, and then when I start walking, you're going to see it go down, and that tells us, okay, we're getting closer. Now, if we have a ship or we can move faster, it'll tell you how much time it'll take to get there. But right now we're on foot. Now you can push the right stick in to sprint, and you'll see in the bottom right, there's a little icon showing you how much endurance you have to sprint before you run out. You notice I took some damage right there. What was that? That was a hazardous plant, I do believe. Where were you, buddy? Now, there's one down there. What else hit me? Something zapped me. I don't think it was a creature, but you do need to watch out for dangerous plants in the environment. I'm going to open this container. Now, you notice how when I mouse over or put the cursor over this rusted metal, it tells you how many there are. There's 94. It tells you the value. I could sell this, and the value is 1,880 units, and it tells you how you can interact with it. I'm just going to put it in my exosuit with triangle, and then see what's inside here. And we got a bunch of oxygen again, which is fantastic. I'm going to search this little red box, and we got some sodium nitrate. Great. I'm going to search this. Nothing found. Wah wah. So remember I just mentioned hazardous plants? This guy, right here. He's got an oxygen plant in there as a trap. And if you want to get oxygen from this jerk, just blast him with your mining beam. But uh-oh, my mining beam charge is depleted. I can't use it anymore. So to recharge it, just push down, go to recharge, select your mining beam, and remember all that carbon we've been picking up? It's going to take 80 carbon to completely refill our mining beam, and now we can just slowly blast this guy. He can't move. It's tragic. We kill it. It can't hurt us any longer, and we get some oxygen, which we can use to recharge our life support. I'm going to continue running us this way, which is what the quest is telling us in the bottom right. You also see there's a new guide entry unlocked, which are navigation basics. And if ever you see that, just push the start button, open up, and you can see all of these different entries about how to play the game if you want more information. I'll try my very best to just explain everything as we go. So we've talked about movement. I'm using the left stick because I have a controller. And you use X for the jetpack, push R3 to sprint, push L3 to use our scanner now that it's repaired. In the bottom right, you're going to see how long our scanner is going to take to recharge, the little quest that we're on to reach the marked signal. And in the bottom left is information about the environment and our status level of our life support and our hazard protection. So currently, if I fell down right there, I would hurt myself. You see how deep that cave goes. So I could drop and then push X a little bit just at the end to avoid massively injuring myself. You could see that my shields did indeed recharge, and I took no sustained damage. And I'm just going to jetpack out of there, and let's run over and see what this is. Oop. Here's some oxygen. Let's pick that up. Wonderful. You see there's some spaceships over there flying. There's some other aliens exploring this area. But I guess we're all aliens in this world, aren't we? And there's some red crystals here. If I scan, you'll see these are actually condensed carbon. And I can pick these up. Now, condensed carbon is necessary for some recipes, but you can generally recharge equipment with higher level or refined elements moving down the chain. So, for example, if it takes carbon to recharge my mining laser, I can use condensed carbon to do that as well, but it would take much less of it because it's more refined, more efficient. Here's a nasty guy. I'm going to blast him and take his oxygen. Get out of here. Don't pinch me. Okay? And I'm going to keep running. There's a little animal man. Most of the animals on your starter world should be not hostile, but don't mess with them, and you might find something hostile. Just run away from it. By the way, I believe all starter worlds are hazardous, so they want to teach you about hazard protection, so you're just going to start on a hazardous world of some kind. In my most recent Let's Play of the game, the world I started on was a blizzard world. It was freezing. Looked awesome. Had really dangerous storms to navigate. This world is just poisonous, toxic. But as long as we keep enough sodium, it's not really a problem. I'm going to keep blasting this guy. Give me some oxygen. Thank you so much. And look at that. There's a ship down there, and that is the icon that we're looking for. Now, I'm going to explain, by the way, you see how it says give food? You can feed creatures pellets if you craft them, which we will talk about later. You can even tame them and ride them, which is awesome. And here is a movement technique that I want to explain right here in our little first guide, which is you can run by pushing R3, but if you push R1 while you're running, you see how I kind of like throw my shoulder forward? That's the melee attack. And if you're just standing there, your character like punches out. But if you're running, your character kind of like throws their elbow. And if you're running and you do that, and then right after you push R1, you push X, you do a Superman move, which is a really great way to quickly move around the environment. It takes a second to get the timing right for it, but it is the preferred means of locomotion. Sprint and do that, and you'll be just flying around very, very easily. It doesn't use, once you've started flying, it doesn't use your sprint, just uses your jetpack, so then you can land, sprint for a while, and then when your sprint is about to go down and your jetpack is recharged, fire this off until your jetpack is done, and then sprint again as it's recharged a little bit. So it's a great way to get around. I picked up all this oxygen. Let's interact with this strange thing here, the iteration, for our quest. I'm going to hold down square. Scenario, iteration 2311876661T deleted. Boundary separation failure likely. Vessel 16 emptied. Cause Sentinel intervention. Deliberate transfer. Analysis fresh iteration generated. Anomaly containment prepared. Broadcast it or leave it. It's up to you. I'm going to broadcast. Broadcast received. Traveler anomaly detected. Anomaly is compliant. Position logged. System integrity scan initialized. So this is all story, and we don't know what's going on. You have kind of woken up in a strange world. You have no memory, and you're figuring things out as you go. But now, let's investigate this crashed ship. Oh my god, it's on fire. So we're going to walk over, and I'm going to hold square to investigate the Radiant Pillar BC-1. And I'm going to hop in and see what's going on. So, the Starship auto-diagnostics are online. Auto-diagnostics, let's say that correctly. Atlas connection intermittent. Launch thrusters offline. Pulse engine offline. I find myself alone on a strange world, unequipped and in danger. I have no memory of how I got here, no sense of a before. But this ship at least seems to recognize me. The controls react to my touch, or at least to that of my exosuit. I am not dead yet, and this ship is a lifeline out to the stars. So, let's read the log. Log 4925A unavailable, substituting data. Exosuit connected. Suggestion: pilot should perform maintenance. Select desired repair path. Let's repair the ship systems. It's our only option. And self-guided repair protocols initiated. Great. So the pulse engine is busted, so we can't fly. And we need to repair this with a hermetic seal and some metal plating. Okay, push circle. So now I'm in the ship and I can get out to begin the quest. I will tell you, the ship is amazing. You'll notice that while you're in the ship, you are not taking environment damage, and you have oxygen, so you can just sit in here and kind of recover yourself a little bit. And after you push square to exit, the game will save. So now your game is saved, which means you've got a restore point saved. If you need to leave or restart, you can come back here, which is fantastic. So at this point, the ship is telling us how to fix itself, and it's giving us the steps to do so in the tooltip window in the right of the screen. And we need to repair the pulse engine by making some metal plating. So push circle to continue. and it tells us we can craft a metal plating in our inventory by using ferrite dust. So push the big button in the center of the controller to open up your inventory. Now remember when we looked at the multi-tool, we were on this tab with the waveform focuser N56P. Now your multi-tool might have a totally different name. But your Starship looks like this, and it has its own inventory, and then your exosuit is like this and also has an inventory. Now, you can craft the part inside your Starship or inside your exosuit. It doesn't matter. We're going to be installing it in the Starship either way. Now, as long as you're close enough to your Starship, the inventories between your exosuit and your Starship are connected. So you see how the Starship has this cargo portion of inventory, these squares on the bottom section of the left side of the screen here. I've got some tritium, which I use to charge my pulse engines. And then in the top left, these squares are the technology sections for the ship, where I have things like my launch thrusters and my pulse engine. These are broken. You see how they are at 0% integrity, and they have the exclamation point and they're in red. It means they're busted. Now my deflector shield is working, and I've got, rocket launcher and a photon cannon. That's working, but that's it. Now your ship will look identical to this. The starting ship always looks just like this. So let's just work on the ship because we're next to it. So if we push, or if we use the cursor and just push it over this empty square in the inventory, you're going to see that this window, the tooltip expands and it says we can craft a product. And it shows you the list of available recipes that we have. And if I push X, it'll go into the craft window. And it wants me to make this metal plating, which is why it's pulsing like that. Now, anything that I can craft will be in full relief, and then anything that I don't have the ingredients for will be kind of grayed out. So I can actually make carbon nanotubes or projectile ammunition right now, but I need to make plating. So I'm going to put my cursor over this and just push X to make it. Then you see my pulse engine starts, pulsing and telling me to click on it, and I will. And then, just like we fixed our multi-tool, we need to put the metal plate here, and I just push X to do so. And now we're going to need a hermetic seal. Now, we don't know how to make that yet, I don't believe, so we're going to need to figure that out. So, board the ship and consult the ship diagnostics. Okay, I will. Notice my life support and my toxic protection in the bottom left, and when I hop in the ship here, you'll see that toxic protection fills back up. We're safe just like we were in the cave. So now it's telling us that the auto diagnostics are functional, and the Starship is critically damaged, vital ingredients are missing, and it's unable to synthesize required components. It requires a hermetic seal. I need assistance. So it says, iteration comparison reveals hermetic seal nearby. Salvage a planetary chart from distress beacon cache. Okay. So we need to learn how to make this hermetic seal. So I'm going to, actually, let me take that back. We don't need to learn how to make it. This is just going to give us one. We could craft our own, but it's fun to do it this way, to just get one. So I'm just going to push circle, and I'm going to leave the ship with square, and I'm going to go over here, run with R3, and interact with this, holding square, and I peer inside the beacon's housing as well as its distress broadcast unit. It contains a planetary chart. So I'm going to take this chart. And now in our inventory we have a chart, so I'm just going to push the big button, open our inventory. You see the chart pulsing here. And I'm going to actually, when you mouse over something or put the cursor over something, it gives you all the contextual buttons for what you can do with that item. So I could push triangle to transfer it into my Starship inventory, for example. I could push X to just pick it up and move it around to another square within my inventory. Or I could push hold square to plot the route. And then you see it sends out this pulse trying to figure out where is this. And it's going to give us the information on where we need to go to get this hermetic seal. And it's over there. Excellent. So it's 981 units away, not too far. But what I recommend doing, before you go, loot everything here. See what they've got. What's this? Dihydrogen? Sure. What's in this container? I'll take the rusted metal. Sure. And we get some condensed carbon. Great. Let's open up this box. And let's search this. Sodium nitrate. And we could even search this damaged machinery. And it's got some more rusted metal. I'll pick that up. And this gives us some nanites, which are a currency we can use for all sorts of things. Buying modules, technology modules and things. You could turn the light on or off. But now that I've satisfactorily collected all of the stuff here, before I leave, I think it's a good idea to just hop in your ship and save the game. Just in case you have to leave or if anything happens, you've got the game saved up, you're ready to go, and we can hop out and head over, moving the camera around with right stick until we get things, and there it is over there, the Hermetic seal. So that's where we need to go. Alright, so now that we've saved it and we're feeling pretty good, I'm just going to run us towards the Hermetic seal coordinates. Now, I'm going to push R3 to sprint again. You see we have this giant ravine. Oh my goodness. That we have to cross. That is intense. So, it's one of the things that they really added with this game, which is massive changes in verticality. So this would never have been in the original No Man's Sky, but now we have a big chasm. So what are we supposed to do here? Well, luckily we have a jetpack. I'm actually going to walk around this from the top because I don't want to fall all the way down and then climb all the way back out. So sometimes you have to take, the road less traveled to get there, and we'll keep practicing our Superman maneuver and getting certain resources that we need as we move. Now you see how it says there's an incoming rainstorm. Whatever hazardous planet you're on is going to have storms when you start, and this will rapidly increase the rate at which your hazard protection is tested and needs to be recharged. Now you see me getting just oxygen whenever I can from those plants. So here comes the storm. You see my life support is going down. That's what the oxygen is for. I like to just gather stuff as I go, and it's something you'll do all the time in No Man's Sky. Gather, gather, gather as you move. Now, at this point, however, I'm going to stop gathering after I get this because you see the screen has turned green with this hazardous nightmare surface in the bottom left of the screen. You'll notice that the toxic indicator is flashing red because the levels are about double what they were before. And so we're just going to try to move as quickly as we can. Now the AI of our suit will give us, warnings like that all the time to make sure that we know what's going on. And about here, I'm just going to push down. I'm going to recharge equipment, and I'm just going to drop some sodium there. I'm also going to recharge equipment and put some oxygen in my life support to top off both of these levels. Now I'm running. Woo! And there's some damaged machinery. I'd like to investigate that, but we just don't have the time. I'm going to kind of try to run as much as I can. You see until I can get to a flat bit like this, and then I'm going to Superman over. Oh my goodness. And it will hurt a little bit. Remember, that's just hurting my shields. No big deal. I really want to get inside. So here we go. I'm going to just run inside this little building. And she's going to tell us that indeed the toxic protection is stabilizing while we're inside. Now sometimes these little constructions have interactables inside, but this one looks pretty empty and abandoned. But I just came in for a brief moment. My shield is back up. My toxic protection is stabilized. Then we need to go out here to this hollow archive. Hold square, push X, push triangle to put that goop into your inventory. Now the storm is cleared, so it's a little easier to be outside. Accessing archive, 6 of 7 logs corrupted. Entry 4924A follows. No one making this recording in case leaving behind in the fabricator might be of some use. Visor damaged, can't find ship. So somebody left this distress log. I'm going to recover supplies. The log finishes and the machine whirs to life, spitting out supplies. I have the hermetic seal I need to repair my ship. Whoever it was that led me here, whoever left this message, perhaps they found themselves in the same situation as I do now. Boom. I'm going to go in. So, we got ourselves, if I push the central button to open up the inventory, you'll notice I found this hermetic seal, which I need to put on our ship. Also, you're going to see I've got this residual goop from the damaged machinery outside. I've got all of this rusted metal, too. It's not going to be obvious now. You can just throw this stuff away, but I will tell you that it all has an application. So, once we get the ability, for example, to refine materials, we can actually refine this rusted metal back into ferrite dust, which is very useful. And this goop we can refine in many stages to get to runaway mold, which will then refine into nanites. So it's actually a way to turn this junk into valuable resources, or at least useful resources for yourself, if you choose not to throw it away. So there is a method to the madness with that stuff. Now, at this point, we need to move the camera around until we find our ship on the compass. And wait a minute, where is it? We can't find it because our analysis visor is broken. So normally the ship would show up, but through the tutorial it doesn't because our visor is broken. So it says here that in order to scan anything by holding L2 with our analysis visor, we need to repair this, and it needs a carbon nanotube. So we've got a new quest, which is to repair our visor. So I'm going to push circle just to kind of minimize this, and we need to open the inventory and select a free slot on our multi-tool. So your suit itself has technology slots, your ship has technology slots, and the multi-tool has only technology slots. It doesn't have cargo like your suit and your ship. And this is where we'll put the visor. You'll also see there's some other options, a deflector shield, a bolt caster, but I'm just going to push X, and it's, pulsing and flashing, hey, put the visor on, and we will. But in order to get it there, we need a carbon nanotube, so we need to make one. So, I don't have it. I'm going to go into my inventory, and remember how I've been collecting carbon all day long? Carbon, carbon, carbon. This is one of the reasons, because you need it for a lot of early crafting. So to make the nanotubes, we need carbon. We need 50. And that's why my quest in the bottom right is saying, oh, you already got it. Now, if you don't have it, you just need to point at generally plants. Living things, organic material will give you that carbon. So, like this big tree right here, you see, it's going to give me carbon. So if I just blast this thing, I'll get some carbon as I go, and then once we blow it up entirely, you're going to see all the carbon rush into me, and I got 57 just from that one tree. So I'm going to go into my inventory, I'm going to push X to open up the crafting screen, then we're going to just make these carbon nanotubes. Once we've got these, we can go to our multi-tool, and we can now click on our analysis visor and drop in the nanotube, push circle, and now we did it. And we can hold our L2 to scan. Now, let's see here. Oh, you know what? I have automatic scanning set up, so let me show you that. Let's turn it off for the tutorial, but I enjoy it as just a quality of life thing. But if you go to the accessibility settings, you can disable push to scan. I'm going to enable it just to make it like what you will have. But I want to show you that there are a lot of things that you can tweak about the gameplay experience in accessibility and in options. And now, when you hold L2, you're going to be looking around, and all sorts of things are going to show up. You see the top ribbon of the screen, I now have a compass. Those red dots that are flashing are actually life forms. And if I push R3 while I'm holding L2, I can zoom in to various stages. And now if I hold R2, I actually scan this animal. You see it gives me money, and there's another animal. The red dot means I haven't scanned it. But you need to make sure when you're aiming that the target you're trying to scan is actually flashing. So right now my visor is looking at the other animal. Now I can scan this guy. There we go. And so scanning stuff and cataloging is a great way to make money. Everything that you haven't scanned, you'll notice on the left side of the screen, this just says unidentified plant, and I don't know what it is, but if I hold R2, I scan it, and all of that information comes in. I get 500 credits. A random name is generated for it. I can rename everything that I scan. I can rename that's not been scanned before. I can scan this, and I can give it my own name. I can name the animals. I have a lot of power here. It will tell you after you scan, let's scan these birds, or whatever these flying things are. I just call flying stuff birds, even though it's not. When you scan objects, you will notice that it will tell you what your resources you will get from it, what it is. So this is an inorganic object. Its primary element is ferrite dust, which I'll get. Once you scan things, you then have the opportunity to get the secondary element that it yields, if it does yield one. So I recommend scanning everything that you can, but particularly it's a good idea to scan all of the fauna, the animals. So I'm going to run over here. Now you'll notice my screen has just got all sorts of things all over it because I pushed L3 to pulse my other scanner, so you could see the sodium, the oxygen, the plants, the hydrogen, everything of the primary elements, the condensed carbon right here. Now I can't mine this giant crystal because I need the advanced mining laser, but these smaller bits, I can break these up and get them. So I don't know what this is. I'll scan it. Look at that. There's a giant ship just flying overhead. So many cool things to see in this game. Now, you'll notice it says my hazard protection is going down. Well, one thing I can do is just fly over here and just recharge my hazard protection by going inside this structure. It also has a hollow archive. So at this point, when you get to your site to get the Hermetic seal, your area, of course, will look different. It's randomized, but you should have shelters like this to hide in from the storm. And then you might get something like a hollow archive. If you interact with it, it just says accessing archive, 6 of 7 logs corrupted. 4924A follows, and it's giving me, again, another Hermetic seal. So, hey, take another Hermetic seal. Now, normally, I believe these give you nanites, but in that case, it just gave me another Hermetic seal, which is great. So we're scanning. Now, you can't scan this, like, a lot of the stuff is pre-scanned, like these HABs, the Hazardous Flora, you don't need to scan that guy. But there's all kinds of stuff, and I'm actually on a world with salvage containers, which is insane. So we started on a world with salvage containers, which is fortunate. I was going to tell you, you see how if I hold L2 and I look on the right side of my analysis visor, it's telling me what this world offers. And every world offers some unique resources, or different types of resources. This one's giving copper, ammonia, and sodium as primary resources in fungal mold, but the valuable resource is the salvageable scrap, which are parts that you need to make your own ship, to make your own Corvette. Now, we're not going to be making a ship right now because we're too early in the game, but what we can do with these like Wi-Fi symbols. The yellow ones are the money, salvage containers, and then the white are buried technology modules, which every world has, which we need. If I hold square, I can tag this. And then if I close my visor, you'll notice that I've basically set up a little navigation for myself where I can go over here. But it's actually 5 minutes away. It's a long walk away. I'm going to get those later when I have a ship. But I wanted to show you how to tag things. But I also want to tell you that those will make us so much money early game. And it's a fantastic way to line our pockets so that we can buy a better multi-tool, so that we can buy resources, maybe even buy another ship. There are lots of cool ways to make money early game that I'm going to tell you about, but another cool way to make money and to make nanites is to scan everything. And if you scan all of the plants or animals on, all of the animals, rather, on a world, let me just put this up, you get a bonus. I'll show you. So if I push, there's my ship way over there. If I push start or pause, and then I go over into the Discoveries tab, you don't get this for Flora or for minerals, but for Fauna, sorry if I misspoke, you get a bonus of nanites if you find all of them on a world. So we've got 5 out of the 7 already, and if I click on this, it'll show you which ones I have, and this is where you can come to just see all the different animals. You can see what they look like, and you can rename them, and you see right here, my PlayStation name file Texas, I have discovered this. This is what so I get credit for that, and you can kind of look at these, you can rotate them, just check them out. And you'll notice that if I get all of the fauna, I get 1,750 nanites as a bonus. I have 30 nanites right now, so that's very, very good. Additionally, if I push circle to go out of this, I get a lot of good information about the world that I'm on and, what's on it. And if I push circle to go back again, I get information about the system that I'm in. And if I hold down circle, or square rather, on this little up arrow, I upload everything that I have found, plants, minerals, whatever, and get nanites for everything. So it's a great way to just, instead of doing it individually, upload all of your data to the servers and get some credit. Now, if I go back in, so I've discovered 3 plants, 5 animals, 2 minerals. I can keep scanning, getting more credits for each thing I scan, getting nanites. But if I go into the animals, and let's just say I want to try to find all the animals, all I need to do is look at these bottom 2 animals. These are rare. It tells me that they're underground, so you could see where the animals are that you're missing. They're always active, meaning they don't come out in just night or day. They're always active, but we're going to have to go in a cave to find them, and that's no problem. So now we have a clue as to where those animals are. We're practicing scanning stuff, using our resources. Uh-oh, this guy almost got us. Right here. What a jerk. But we win. All right. So now we need to get back to our ship. And there's so much to do, it's very easy to get distracted in this game. But one of the things I want to do in this tutorial is keep us moving along without too much distraction, even though it's pretty much impossible in this game. Because if you stay with the main story quest, exploring all of the distractions and awesome stuff there is to find in this world will be much easier, because you'll get things like, I don't know, a starship, or upgrades, or advanced mining lasers, or terrain manipulator tools, things that you need to really explore in earnest. So if we want to get to that salvageable area that we marked on the map, and you see if I turn around, that container that I held Art L2, and you can see the underground guys right here. I held L2 to open my analysis visor and start scanning, and then I targeted the salvage container and held square to pin it. It remains. So when I get back to my ship, I can fly there. Now, this red dot, if I aim at it, it's 85 units, but it's underground. So I need to be able to mine underground or to dig tunnels, but I don't have a tool to do that. So we're going to need to progress with the main story quest to make that happen. and we will. Alrighty.
Toxic protection. Falling.
Here we go. Alright. So remember, what we did was we walked around the outside of this chasm so that we didn't have to attempt to do any kind of mountain climbing work with our jetpack to get out. And I'm just running along using our Superman flying technique to cover distance quickly, and we're back. Alrighty. So now, let's just hop in. Our toxic protection is ticking down. And we're going to repair the pulse engine, 1. And add in the seal. And we did it. So, we fixed the launch thruster, but we need fuel. And in order to create fuel... oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. We fixed the pulse. We need to fix the launch thruster first before we get fuel. So the launch thruster is our vertical takeoff, and we're going to need 50 pure ferrite and 1 dihydrogen jelly. So the game is going to teach us about refining. So it says we need to construct a portable refiner to process ferrite dust into pure ferrite. So let's just hop out and do that. There's also a tunnel up there, which is pretty intriguing. I'm actually going to go into this and see if there's a closer salvage container there, but it'd be nice if inside this tunnel, I'm going to go in here, just see how awesome the game is with its like interior spaces and cave worlds. There's so much salvage container. It's awesome. And in here we're pretty safe, so we need to create a refiner to transform simple materials. So let's do that. Let's go and check in our inventory. They did say that our life support was running low. So the most common way to recharge your systems is to push down on the directional pad and just do that in the normal game screen. But you can also do that in your exosuit by simply picking up oxygen with X and then just dropping it onto your life support and recharging it from here. So instead we're going to push up to go to the build screen. So up arrow on the directional pad brings up our build options, and right now we can just build this deployable technology of the portable refiner. So we need 1 metal plate and some oxygen. We have the oxygen, but we don't have the necessary metal plate. So I'm actually going to push 0 and cancel this out and go into our inventory, and then from here we're going to just click an empty square and craft. By the way, I haven't said this yet about our inventory really, but you don't have any weight in this game. You can carry as many slots as you have available, and the slot needs to be filled in with this little box in the lower left corner. Like, this is actually an empty space right here. And these are 2 slots, and you can mouse over the slots and then they will highlight and open up the modify window, whereas empty slots, nothing happens. And you can stack things quite high. It just depends on how high the item wants to stack for its type. Like hermetic seals can only go up to 20, but metal could go into the thousands. So anyway, I'm going to just click on an empty space and push X to craft a product, and we want to make metal plating, but we need ferrite dust, and I only have 28 ferrite dust, so that is not enough. So what we're going to need to do is see if there's anything like that in here. So let's go ahead and start scanning. So this is going to give us cobalt, and anything else in here that we need to scan? I think we got it. Feels pretty good. Okay. Oh, there we go. And there's another guy there. So we're going to have to go outside for our ferrite. Wait. This is a ferrite, man, right? Yeah. So there's some objects in here we can break apart for ferrite, like these guys. Excellent. But to get more, let's just go outside. And remember, now that we have our scanner, we can just look and see, what is this? That's pure ferrite. We don't have the right technology to get that. But we can go around and more easily find the rocks that we need to get some ferrite. So here's hydrogen up here. If we need some dihydrogen. And just go ahead and blast this away. And got a little ferrite dust. And here's our buddies right here, these rocks. This is what we need to make sure we can get enough ferrite dust to build a refiner. So your rocks are going to look different. You might have more surface rocks than I have. But now you notice in the upper right corner, you see how my mining beam, the heat is going yellow, it's going orange, and it's going red. And then eventually the heat warning appears in the center of the screen, and we were able to stop right before our gun overheated. If the mining laser or the multi-tool does overheat, you just have to wait around a little bit for it to calm down. Okay, excellent. So I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to go next to the ship, because we can go in the ship if we need for protection. I'm going to push up. Actually, no, we need to craft a plate first. Let's go into our inventory. Click an open space. Push X to craft a metal plate. And now, if I go to make a portable refiner, I have the plate and the oxygen. You see when I build it, instead of this refiner blueprint hologram being red, it is green. It's green wherever I can place it. Now, if I try to put it on my Starship, it's going to turn red again. And it says, cannot build too close to Starship. So you just need to get a nice flat place where you can build it, and then push R2 to place it. Then, once you're done with it, you hold square when you have it selected to open it up. And the refiner works like this. You have an input, which will turn into the output depending on what you give it, and it needs fuel. So first, let's just click on fuel, and I'm going to give it condensed carbon, because we actually have a good amount of that. And just drop that in there, and that gives it 100%. We only need 27. And then I'm going to click on this, and we're going to refine ourselves the pure ferrite. Now, you'll notice if I click rusted metal, I can get a bunch of ferrite dust. It will take a while, though. So I'm actually going to just put this back in my suit and go over here, and let's concentrate on the ferrite dust into pure ferrite. So once I've selected this, it says it's a 1-to-1 input, and I'm going to get out 120 1-to-1 pure ferrite. It'll take 14 seconds, so it'll be really fast. So let's just get this. Hold square to start this up. It's charging. There it goes. Excellent. And then I'm going to go over to input, and I'm going to put in my rusted metal. Now, it won't work until I take out the ferrite from the output. So just go over to the output, push X on it, and then push triangle to put it into your exosuit. And now I can actually hold square to begin the process of turning all of my metal into ferrite, which will save us a ton of time. Now, I can just walk away from this, and as long as it has fuel, it's going to keep going and doing its thing. Now, it says we need a little bit more hydrogen. So remember, you can just pulse with L3 to find hydrogen, and we saw it up here on this ridge. There's a bunch of it all over the place. Just look for these blue crystals. Come up here and start firing away. Make sure we can get enough to craft that jelly. they'll put dihydrogen crystals all over the place, generally around other sites where you would want to land. And then now I'm going to go into my inventory. We're going to click this pulsing square, make the dihydrogen, and this will then allow us to, let me just fly over here, break my legs, go in, and click the launch thruster, and we've got this fixed and that fixed. We put the pure ferrite, we put the dihydrogen, and now our ship is fixed. So we have repaired our ship. Now it is telling us, as a good tip, to go out and pick up our refiner. So the cool thing about the refiner is, once you build it as a portable technology, you can just pick it up and take it around with you. You don't have to build another one all the time. Now I'm going to make sure I got everything I need. Looks like there's some, potentially some treasure over here I didn't pick up. Oh no, this is just stuff that I can't get because I don't have an Atlas pass. No problem. Let me just look around. Okay, everything looks good. So, even though our refiner isn't done, I could just hold R3, and you see how it's telling me in tooltip in the center of the screen, the ferrite dust is 49%, 50% done now. And if I hold R3, I just pick this up, but it's like, nope, you can't. So I have to hold square. I could take this ferrite dust, put it in my inventory, and I could take this and put this in my inventory, take the output, put it in my inventory, and now I could just look at it and pick it up. I will get the carbon back. It does change the condensed carbon into regular carbon, but I still get the same amount of fuel back. And then now I have my refiner just picked up in my inventory, ready to be used again when I need it. But I have now so much ferrite from my dust, I'll just need to convert some more. Now, we need to go back to our ship. And this is one of the best parts of No Man's Sky, which is we get to take off with R2 and start flying around. Now, I'm going to save that for the next episode because this episode's been quite long already, just getting our bearings, understanding the basics of the game, and repairing our ship. This is going to be a complete beginner's guide series where we're going to nice and casually move through all aspects of understanding how to play this game, how to be successful in a way that you can play along with, that's easy to understand. And I hope you have found this to be helpful so far. I will see you in the next episode when we talk about moving our ship around, how to fly, how to explore, and unpack all of the amazing systems in this ever-expanding, enormous but fantastic game. I want to say, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and all experienced No Man's Sky players, thank you for sharing any tips that you have with new players so we can hopefully create a resource to get new or returning players into this game and enjoying it like we are. Take care, everyone.